We're talking about Willow, the brand new Willow series based on the movie from 1988, one of my favorite all-time adventure fantasy films. A lot of people have slept on this movie. A friend of mine who is a huge fantasy nerd, loves Dungeons and Dragons, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, all that, had never even heard of Willow. Literally, I had this conversation with him yesterday. I sent him the link to watch it on Disney Plus or whatever. I was like, look, you gotta watch this movie. This movie is one of the greats. It is a classic, hands down.
He must be like 30 years old.
He's 38 years old.
Huh.
Anyways, the movie is coming. I mean, the show, The Return of Willow, the series, is coming out based on the movie. It is a continuation. It's coming out at the end of this month. And, there's been some stuff about it that has me concerned.
Okay.
I've been reading a lot that, and by the way, it comes out November 30th. So, and we're going to be covering it. By the way, we're going to be covering it on this channel. So we'll be putting that review out probably the following morning, I'm assuming.
Or join the member section. You can see it pretty much right afterwards.
Right. And the thing is this. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about this that is concerning me because I was genuinely excited about this show. I like Warwick. If I mess up a name, please help me, Shane. Okay. I like Warwick Davis. I loved Willow. I wanted to see a continuation of the story. I've wanted to see a continuation of the story since I was 10 years old. Since I was 10 years old, I've wanted to see this story continue. And I have watched this movie maybe 30 times. Not going to lie. So, and then I start to hear that Warwick Davis isn't even in every episode. There is a character that plays the role of the baby from the movie, but she's like a guest. She's not even like a recurring character. And the main characters aren't Warwick Davis and the characters that we love, but instead these two new characters, two new lesbian, of course, characters. And it had me, I was concerned. And I hope everything I heard was wrong. I hope everything I read was wrong, but...
Did you get it from an actual news source? See, now every time you say something, I got to ask you, is it from 4chan?
It wasn't from 4chan, no. It wasn't. No, it was an article talking about the brave, new characters. And okay. I should have saved the article and sent it to you.
Yeah, because I never saw that. So
see, at the time we weren't talking about it, so I didn't. But it was talking about the characters. It was an actual article. I forgot what it was on. I think it was on a reputable news source, or I wouldn't even have taken it seriously.
Gotcha.
And I gotta find it. But backing it up, you look at IMDb, and it backs up some of those. And they weren't even claiming it as a bad thing. They were claiming it as a good thing. I'm seeing it as a bad thing because I want Warwick Davis to be the main character. I want the character that was the baby in the movie to be the main character.
Well, okay, so just so you know, did you see the preview?
Yes.
Okay, which that was a great preview. We do find out that the baby from the movie is the main character, at least the one we see in the clip.
Right. She's not the main character, though.
Well, they're showing that as the clip. Now, what you read is saying she's not, but that doesn't mean that that's 100% true, right?
Right. So from what I read, the main characters are one's a princess and one's like a kitchen maid or something. And the kitchen maid has the hots for the princess. And when her brother gets kidnapped, she goes on an adventure to help him, and they end up connecting because their goals intersect with Willow and the baby chick.
Okay. Well, I might be able to make you feel a little better because I don't think they got it. I mean, maybe there's some of that there, but it doesn't seem like that's what's going on. So if you watch the clip, it talks about the character coming to find Warwick Davis, and it was great because when they finally get to him, there's this nice little fun little moment where he's like, it's okay. And they have this conversation about they need to go to a place where the map ends, right? They need to go on this journey.
I love that, by the way.
Right, which is great. Now, this shot that in this article that I sent over to you here, this the return of Willow and how it's staying true to its origins. There's a great shot here where you've got there's, I don't know if it's maybe at the top of this scene if you want to show it, but it's all 6 characters, of which it looks like 3 dudes, 3 gals, or whatever they're going to identify as, but they're all together, so they're going on this journey together. So I'm not sure where you heard that Warwick Davis isn't in much of it, but he's obviously a part of the journey and the adventure that's happening.
Right.
So that's key. He's not going to just be a cameo. He's in the show. In fact, when you look at what Jon Kasdan talks about, because this entire article talks about the new Disney Plus series, as well as Ron Howard, George Lucas, Warwick Davis, Val Kilmer, and James Horner, which all those guys are the reason why the original Willow was such an amazing film. They thought, and this is interesting, George Lucas and Ron Howard, they thought this was going to be like the next Star Wars or Indiana Jones. They thought it was going to be a universe.
So did I.
That they built into. That was the whole idea. So the film did okay financially, but it did not, unfortunately, reach like the cultural heights of Lucas's other mega hits. And so it just kind of went away. But throughout all the years, Howard and Lucas, they always believed that Willow would come back. And it's because of Disney Plus that they're able to actually do this. Disney Plus is the reason they're able to do this series. They could not get anybody to buy off on it. For years, they've been trying to get Willow back. But the reason that they couldn't was because they didn't think there was a movie platform for it. Like there was no reason to do Willow 2. Right?
What?
They didn't feel like financially the people who owned it would be able to benefit from a Willow 2.
That's insane to me.
Now, a couple of the benefits here is that we've got this Disney Plus platform, which changes things. But also they said some pretty interesting things. Once Lucasfilm sold Disney, he lost the rights to Willow. So like George Lucas still wanted to do Willow, but he didn't have the rights to do anything with it. So it really took the moment that things seemed to change was the moment that Disney Plus was announced and The Mandalorian was in process. And I guess they were in the middle of working on Solo, the Star Wars story.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron came in, Ronnie Howard.
Ron Howard.
Who was doing Solo, by the way, came in and said, this is how we're going to potentially convince Disney to let us do more Willow. It was through Disney Plus. So they actually pitched Disney Plus and said, look, this is what we can do. We can do a Willow series. It'll be great. There's longtime fans. And they basically talked him into doing it, right? Val Kilmer was going to be in this movie, bro.
Oh, no, really?
What happened is they shot it during COVID. They started shooting it over across the pond.
And he's like sickly, so he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it, but he was supposed to be a part of this.
No, come on, man. Do some pickup shots. There's time. There's time.
I don't think he's well enough to do it. He could barely do Top Gun Maverick.
I know. I saw that.
So I don't think it's possible. But the whole point is that, and Kasdan says here, he said, listen, first, we knew there was no Willow without Warwick Davis. And Davis knew coming back was going to be a gamble. So they were very, very careful about it. Okay. They wanted to make sure that everything was done right. They really wanted to pay homage to the tradition of the character. So I know what you're saying, like there's some things to be concerned with, but it sounds like Kasdan is all in on making sure everything lives up to the expectations of the original creation. They spent years thinking about this, that I find it very hard to believe they're just going to come in and wokeify it for the sake of wokeifying it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Without paying. I mean, everything about this is them like wanting to make sure it's good, to make sure they can do more of it. Val Kilmer is still an ally of the show. George Lucas is an ally of what's happening, even though he has no control of it. You got Ron Howard, who's there as a part of it. So they couldn't get Kilmer back, but they got a Val Kilmer-esque actor, a character to play that role.
I saw that.
So we're getting another hero in that respect, someone who can, protect a protector, so to speak, who's probably also a bit of a rogue, right?
Right, because that's what Willow is. It's basically like the first successful Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, yes.
It
I
has
would
the
say so.
roles, it has the
Yeah,
journey, the quest. Has
that's
all.
fair.
It's up there, man.
Yeah. So they're saying here that Willow has Warwick Davis back. It has Whaley back. Okay. It has Kilmer is back in spirit. Howard's producing. So what is missing from that original DNA? So James Horner's unforgettable score is, of course, Horner passed away in 2015. But in his place, Willow has James Newton Howard, who's himself a legend, who specifically asked to work on the show. So that means that he's a Willow fan, and the music will probably be very good.
Oh man, I really dislike this actress too. Like I really disliked her in Solo. I just disliked her. She's not a good actress. I don't like anything about her. Everything that comes out of her mouth is super cringe, and I hope that I'm totally wrong. But in Solo and in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, she was the sole reasons that my butthole tightened every time she came on stage. I hate it.
Was it the characters or was it the actress?
It's very hard for me to separate the two, because in Solo and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it could have been the same person and I wouldn't have known the difference. I understand they had different names and different backstories, but they still acted the same. Like this false bravado, like this fake false, like I'm a badass bravado that that doesn't work. She does not sell it. And both the things I saw her in, she never sells it. But all the characters around her are buying into it because that's what they're supposed to, that's their role. But
that won't be successful if that's the case.
It does not work. She does not work as the badass.
Okay, well, we'll have to see what role. I mean, obviously, this person's. You can see her in the background there. You see her.
Yeah, she's in the background.
In the picture. So she's obviously not the main character. I believe this is going to be the main character here, and that's the daughter of the original girl, the original heroine from Willow. That's her daughter. And she's the one who comes and hunts down Warwick to get help on this mission. That
Are you talking about this? Her daughter?
Yes. Yeah.
Queen Shorsha's daughter. Okay, so she's the princess.
Yes.
So it looks like she's the princess, and Erin Kellyman is probably the barmaid.
Yeah. Who? Yeah. Was it the dishwasher?
Or dishwasher or whatever? Right. Yeah.
So and listen, if there is going to be some, if they're in love, then we're not going to let that hold the story against anything, as long as that's not the main takeaway from the movie. That's not the point.
Oh, as long as it doesn't
treat it as normal.
As long as it doesn't hurt the story, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care if they're into each other. If it doesn't hurt the story, it doesn't bother me. But this actress, the Erin Kellyman, so far, everything I've seen her in, I feel like she has been a negative part. She has taken away from that media and never added to it.
Okay, well then that's something to definitely be concerned about. So as many positives as we laid out here, that's something we'll be watching for. And when we start reviewing it, we're going to be extraordinarily honest about how we feel about the whole thing. Note,
she's certainly a Disney favorite because they put her as that badass female role in like a bunch of stuff.
Well, and she did Solo, and guess who? Ron Howard did Solo, so she's in Willow, so there's obviously a connection. We'll know in a few weeks. We'll be reviewing it here on Podcast Unleashed. It debuts on Disney Plus on November 30th, which means we'll probably have to do a pre-live show review in the morning on that. So.
I like what this says here. Whether audiences feel good about Willow, we'll have to wait a few weeks to find out. But having seen the first half of the season, we feel, because Moto saw first half of the season, we feel the show does an excellent job of building into the existing mythology while also developing and endearing the audience to the new characters. It's a show that fans new and old will like and can enjoy. With that same Princess Bride tone that made the original so beloved. Was
That's
Princess?
good.
What came out first, Princess Bride or Willow?
Gosh, it would have been. I think it was Willow.
All right. So why'd you say that?
Well, Princess Bride has a tone.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
I
Princess
guess.
Bride came out in 87, and Willow was pretty close to the same time.
Yeah.
88. So Willow was the next year. So yeah, so Willow came out after Princess Bride, and I think Princess Bride is actually even a little more whimsical than Willow.
Oh, it's too whimsical. I mean, I love Princess Bride. I love Princess Bride, but when you watch that movie, you're not watching it for like it's not an adventure movie.
No,
That's not what it is. This Willow is an adventure movie. There's comedy in it, but it's an adventure. There's danger, and there's dragons, and there's the chance of being harmed. No point in Princess Bride am I actually concerned about the
even
characters.
when Andre the Giant's gonna like crush somebody's skull with a rock. No, you don't think it's gonna happen?
Never. I did. I love the movie, but it's
Carrie
not.
Yule?
It's. I don't think. I don't think they're the same kind of movie. I don't think so.
All right. Well, maybe it's lighthearted. Maybe that's what he's talking about. It's not deep and serious and dark. It's more lighthearted. Maybe that's why that person chose those words.
Okay, that's fair. Hey, he saw half the season, so he knows. Then hopefully he's right. Hopefully it's great. And I might be letting my experience with my favorite franchises being absolutely destroyed before my eyes on a biannual basis get in the way here. And I can recognize that.
That's human. I mean, how can we not be concerned, worried, fretful at the idea that this might just make us, we're hopeful, but ruin it. So.
Right. Because guess what, guys? I actually actively dislike Star Wars. And I was a massive Star Wars fan. And really Andor is the closest thing to watchable for me right now. And Mandalorian was good too, but like not good enough to get the taste of what they did with that franchise in my mouth. And we've talked about it before. We talked about Star Trek Discovery, Star Wars. We thought Quantum Leap was going to be that way. I was so pleasantly surprised after seeing the mid-season finale that it felt great. They didn't do that. But oh my God, if you looked at all the data leading up to it, it looked like they were. It did. So I hope I'm wrong. Anyways, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And please make sure to join us for the live Willow reviews when they come up. I love you so much.